Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life-changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I am grateful that you're joining me today. And today I'm talking about frequency and vibration. Really looking at how your frequency and vibration is created and how that creates your reality. And also how you have the power and the control to release what no longer works for you based on your vibration and your frequency and create something different. So I'm excited to share with you right now in my newest group, Awaken in the Line. We are diving into this stuff. Really, we are starting with that daily stuff because that is really where you have to put your focus if you really want to change your life. If you really truly want to change your frequency and your vibration, you really have to get clear about how you are functioning, where you're functioning at on a daily basis, what patterns you're repeating, right? What continuous patterns you're repeating in your frequency and vibration. Really getting clear about what it is you're telling the universe with your daily thoughts, with your daily emotions, with your daily patterns. And so you can really mostly, I guess, get clear about what it is that you want to change. Because let me tell you what, when it comes to frequency, vibration, when it comes to how this world works, your conscious choice to change is probably the most powerful tool that you have at your disposal. When you have a pattern or a frequency or a vibration that you're in that's creating a pattern in your life that you really don't like, your conscious choice to say, you know what, I'm spending this much time a day and this emotion or this energy or this upset or this repeat pattern, and I just really don't want to be this way anymore. And that choice is the most powerful tool that you have to change your life. So today I want to really dive into how do I get clear about the frequencies, the vibrations that I'm in? How do I get clear about how this stuff is made up so I can have the power and the control to really truly start making changes in my life and really truly start doing something different. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take some nice deep breaths today and let's go ahead and expand out. And this is such an important part of the frequency and vibration, right? Because when we do our expanding, what we're doing is expanding out our energy, our space, and our consciousness, which essentially equals or means, right? Your soul, right? The When your body dies, you have this, if we want to call it our soul, if you want to call it your being, right? When your body dies, you still have the being or the soul of who you are. And for me, for consciousness terms and for less definition, I like to call it energy, space, and consciousness, because that's basically what it is. It's all of the energy, all of the space, and all of the consciousness that you be. It's everything that your being knows, right? It's not just the soul, although it is the soul. But when we say soul, it has such a limiting point of view on it, right? We have so many defining words that we have decided our soul is. And once we define it as, oh, it's our soul, it's like it takes on all of the points of views about what we believe to be our soul, whether it's this lifetime's point of view or last lifetime's point of view or 50 lifetimes ago point of view, right? And when we put that spin on it of saying energy, space, and consciousness, all of a sudden it's like it has so much more space. It has so much less definition. It has so many more possibilities. Yeah, to be something greater than the definitions around the energy of the word soul. So that's really what we're talking about today, is how frequency and vibration uh, really truly creates in our life. And the vibration of something vibrates or has a certain frequency based on what we believe to be true about it. So when we're talking about frequency and vibration, even using the word soul, let's just feel that for a moment. So when we say the word soul, I just want you to feel the word soul in your body for a moment. Do you feel how it's kind of like, it's kind of got like it's got like a heaviness. It's got it's got restriction around the word soul. And that restriction comes because of everything that word has defined as. Everything. And when we use a word, and let's take the word soul, um, energetically, because we are energetic beings, right? So when we hear the word soul, we're actually tapping into, or we say the word soul, or we feel into the word soul, we're actually tapping into not just what we have defined the word soul as, but what the word soul has been defined as by potentially most of the world, right? We can energetically, at this point in our ascension and our awakening, we can energetically tap into what everyone has defined that word as, and we actually uh, feel the heaviness on that word. That word feels heavy because most of probably most of the definition that word has been given is not actually true for that word. Okay, so what happens is when people, over lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of people using that as a definition of something that it's not, it starts to get that word, that construct, that frequency, that energy, that vibration of that word, just the word, starts to get kind of buried in the points of views that people believe to be true about that word. Okay, so then when you use that word and you believe in that word, you actually energetically kind of uh, assimilate, if you will, the frequency and energy of that word. So that's part of the reason, as an energy person and as somebody that's conscious and aware, I don't like to use words that are heavy. I don't like to, if I speak a word, and I know if you've been listening to this radio show for any amount of time and you've heard me say words, and I'll say, I didn't want to say it like that, or that's not the word I wanted to use, or that's not the right energy, because I can feel how the words that I'm saying are getting interpreted energetically, and I don't want to impart or project a heaviness on someone else based on the looping constructs of the words that I'm using. I hope that makes sense. So when I use a word, I try to consciously choose my words when I'm doing my radio show, because I understand that certain words are going to have certain definitions that create a heaviness when we listen to them. And the last thing that I really truly desire to leave anyone with is a heaviness. And I'm using the word desire, and desire is one of those words that I prefer to use in my personal life. And often I'll use the counterpart, want, right? Now for me, want is another one of those words I don't like to use, because want technically means the lack of, right? And if we want something, we don't want to lack something. We truly desire, because desire has a completely different energy. And let's just feel that for a moment. The energy of want, the energy of desire. Yeah, see how it has a totally different energy on it. And you know what? I went on like a little side tangent here, and I was talking about the energy of soul. So let's go back to that for a second. I just went on like a tangent here. So if we're looking at the word soul, right? Let's just feel that for a moment. And then we look at like the opposite here of the energy, the space, and the consciousness. Yeah, do you feel how much lighter that is to define it as energy, space, and consciousness versus soul? Yeah, I feel that from soul, energy, space, and consciousness. Now, I know that it's not just one word, right? Energy, space, and consciousness isn't just one word. But to me, I'm going to define it, if you will, as the same thing, because it really is. You're not just your soul, your energy, your space, your consciousness. And when you expand out your energy, space, and consciousness, which we are getting ready to do, you're truly getting into the true space of who you are. You're not just defining yourself as that soul and buying into that construct of words. And since I was just talking about words, I just want to say I did write a blog this last week on my blog on my website, Jamie JAMIE Bates BATES.com. With just a little bit of the words, a few words there that I really, as an energetically sensitive person, those are kind of my personal words that I really had to, and there's words and there's phrases, I really had to stop saying because of the frequency and the vibration of those words and the things that they created in my universe. And so I just wanted to kind of say that if you've never looked at my blog, you guys, I have like 80 some blogs on there right now. I'm pretty good at blogging topics as they come up. In my practice and in my life, I try to really make a point to write a blog a week, just to kind of continually reiterate that there is so much information out there for us to have at our fingertips. So my blog is a great resource if you're looking for some stuff to read. I do have a lot of information in there about a lot of different topics. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to this expansion so we can talk more about frequency and vibration today. So let's go ahead and take some nice deep breaths. Yeah, put your barriers down, your barriers down, your barriers down, your barriers down. And if you've never expanded before, essentially what we're doing is we're taking that energy, that space, and that consciousness of you, and we're making it bigger, because the energy, space, and consciousness of you is not inside your body. Your body is inside your energy, space, and consciousness. And your energy, space, and consciousness is really, truly, it's this big, huge space of you. And the more space of you that you get into, the more ease you have with your life, the easier it is to create, the easier it is to release, the easier it is to just plainly exist in this world when you're more space versus less space. So expanding is one of those things that I encourage people to get into the habit of doing daily. If it's not one time a day, multiple times a day, until you get to the space where you just pretty much linger out in space. Okay, you get to a certain point when you've been expanding for long enough, when you just exist. Now, there are times where if I start to perceive a certain energy that I know is not me, and I know that I'm trying to process something that's outside of me, at this point in the game, that's my indicator that I need to take a moment. I need to put my barriers down, and I need to expand myself out, because even though I don't practice doing the expansion every single day like I used to, I'm pretty good at staying space, but there are times where I can buy into somebody's frequency or vibration and kind of start to try to bring it into my universe and figure it out, because that's what we do. We are master figure things outers. We do energetically, because we really did come here to this planet to learn. And so that's part of the reason why, as an energetically sensitive person, we are so good at bringing other people's stuff into our universe, because we really just want to look at it and see what it would feel like to experience that, and see what it would be like to have that. And even if it's something that we feel like consciously we don't desire, we are really good at invoking it in our own universe. So when you get into the habit of being space, what happens is you start to learn what you feel like versus what everyone else feels like. And more and more that you consciously create your universe and you consciously choose, which is really kind of what we're talking about today with the frequency and vibration, the more and more you start to understand how really powerful you are and how easily you can create something different in your universe. So let's go ahead and get expanded as we kind of move on here. So let's make sure we have our barriers down, our barriers down, our barriers down. Yeah, and just really kind of settle into that space. And let's go ahead and expand out and make yourself as big as the city that you're in. Go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And go ahead and make yourself as big as the county that you're in, all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. Nice deep breath. And the state that you're in, all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And as big as the country that you're in, all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. Just listening to the sound of my voice, there's nothing that you have to be or do. And go ahead and make yourself as big as the planet that we're on, as big as planet Earth. And bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster, all the way out to the space of who you be. Well, actually, we skipped the universe there, didn't we? Let's go to the universe. There we go. Multiverse, multiple universes. Times that by a million, 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 all the way out to the space of who you be. As the infinite being that you be. Yeah, bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster. Let's just really, truly settle into this space of who we be. Yeah. So today we're talking about frequency and vibration. So now that we're into the true space of who we be, right? We're in the frequency and vibration of who we be. So essentially, this is your space. This is your universe, right? So for me, what each of our universe looks like is it's like, I feel like it's full of these filing cabinets of information. Okay. So these filing cabinets of information take every single viewpoint you've ever believed into or bought into or believed was right or wrong or good or bad. So every time you decided that waiting in traffic was terrible, you have this whole filing cabinet of information that tells you about traffic and what traffic means and what it means to sit in traffic and what it means to drive and all of these, this whole filing cabinet of information, okay? And we have this about every single thing that we've ever done, right? And if you've ever looked into, which if you're listening to this show, I know you probably have, and you're probably really interested in this, you know, our charts, right? The contracts we sign when we come here, like all of that information. Everything that has to do with who you are as a being is all stored within the energy, space, and consciousness of who you be, right? And it's all stored within, it's all like filed in these filing cabinets of information. Now, this is what it looks like to me. It might not look like filing cabinets to you, but to me, it looks like these big, huge filing cabinets. You know, often, if you've listened to my show or you've done anything with me, often I talk about form and structure. So for me, this is what your form and structure looks like. This is everything that makes up your form and structure. It's all stored within your energy, space, and consciousness, okay? So when you go through your day, and this is just not this realities, let me just say that, okay? This is every single lifetime that you have ever been reincarnated here on this planet, and potentially even points of views from other places if you've been in other universes, which I'm sure you probably have, right? So every single incarnation you've ever had here, every viewpoint. So let's say if you had a traumatic experience, and this is one of the things I deal with, or I help clients with when we're working together, and this is exactly what I'm talking about here. So let's say 5 lifetimes ago you had and I think I've used this example before, but I feel like it's just such a powerful example. You maybe had a big farm, and you had a big family, and you guys had wealth of some sort, right? And you went away for the day to go do something, and you came back and your family had been killed, and your house had been raided and everything had been stolen, and maybe your animals were killed. It was very, very, very traumatic experience. And if we know anything about lifetimes before, everyone talks about how terrible life is right now, and how mean and awful people are. But I mean, you guys, really, like 200-300 lifetimes ago, people were killing people in the town, right in front of other people, and nothing was happening. And I mean, this is definitely not the worst lifetime to live in, just saying. We've had lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of people killing people, of bad things happening, of and so we have something traumatic like that we've experienced in the past, and then we make a decision that I never ever want to be wealthy again, because in that grief and that in that time of really deep sadness of everything getting ripped from you, you decide that being wealthy is the root of what caused that for you, because someone killed your family to take your money and take your things, right? So you decide that wealth is something that you don't ever want to have again, because you don't want to be stolen from, you don't want to be taken from like that. And I know even in this lifetime, especially as a child, I had plenty of times in my life where I felt really deep sorrow, right? And I went to that space where, and I even remember saying out loud as a child, if you, and not to myself and not to any of my family members, but to the universe, to God, or to whoever I was, praying to, right? If you help me with this, I will never be powerful like I should be, or I'll never step into my power. I can remember being very, very young, 5, 6 years old, and holding like a stuffed animal in my hand, and saying, please, if you help me with this situation, and not necessarily talking to the stuffed animal, just being in that space of being small and having stuffed animals, and saying, if you help me through this situation, or if you help my mom through this situation, I promise to never be the powerful being that I am. I promise to never step into my power. And I can remember having those exact conversations and actually saying, I'll never step into my power if you help me with this. Now, the thing is, and I actually have another radio show I recorded, I don't know, last year sometime, about oaths and vows, I think it's called. But, when we make a pact like that, when we say, if you will help me with this, and I promise if you do, I won't do this. Well, what happens is, this is an ask and receive universe, right? So if I say to the universe, if I say out loud, I never want to have wealth again, or I never want to be wealthy, what happens is, because this is an ask and receive universe, when I make a plea like that to the universe responds with an energy, okay? Because we are energetic beings, and 3 or 4 lifetimes ago, we may not have even comprehended, and even up till probably 10 years ago, you may have never even comprehended how very powerful you are, because it just wasn't available to us to even be able to receive how powerful we are as frequency beings, right? So this this space of, so when we ask for something, the universe responds. So if I say to the universe, I never want to be wealthy again, please protect me from being wealthy or having nice things, the universe responds by giving us the space to make that happen. So if I say I never want to be wealthy, the universe responds with giving me angels or demons or beings that are going to come in and prevent me, stop me from being wealthy, and not because they're being mean or they're terrible beings or they're awful or any of these things. It's because I asked for that. And a majority of our frequency and vibration is made up of those types of situations. And again, it doesn't even mean that it's from this lifetime. It could be, more than likely you've probably been here for over 100 lifetimes, because we came here to this planet to play in frequency and vibration, and that's what we've been doing since the beginning of time here as human beings on this planet. And we have been in a deep state of control manipulation. And in that deep state, we have had to stay small. We've had to stay limited. We've had to play in the depths of lower level frequencies. And within that, what we've been doing is we have been agreeing, and we have been aligning, and we have been, invoking these different beings to help us on our course. And so the way that your energy, space, and consciousness is made up right now is all based off of those places and spaces where you made those agreements, you made those points of views, you decided that money meant bad things, and again, not from the space of because even what money means in this lifetime right now in the year 2020 is completely different from what money meant before the year 1900, right? Before 1900, before 1901, before 1902, money was a completely different thing. Having wealth was a completely different thing. And we spent a majority of our lifetimes in that old energy of what we had decided. Right? Yeah, so much of your energy, space, and consciousness right now is made up of these programs of frequency and vibration from these old storage spaces of old lifetimes of information that you have aligned and agreed with, or decided, or created the point of view of. Yeah, so there's a lot of information in there. So let's just let that vortex out for a moment here. And we're actually, I hear Barry yelling. I'm not sure if you can hear that in the background. So we're going to give him a moment to yell for a second here. And I'm just going to kind of let this vortex through as we take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to continue to talk about frequency and vibration and how this continues to make up your life and what you can do to change that. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be diving into more of the concepts of frequency and vibration.
Awaken and Align in 2020. This program is for people who are ready to make big permanent changes in their life, giving you real tools with worksheets and energy exercises to expand your essence that will easily create the expressions of you showing up stronger in 2020. See yourself with the perfect vision as we all awaken and align in 2020. For more information, visit www.jamie-bates.com. The Consciousness Playground is a membership community to support you in living a conscious and aware life. Each month, members receive life and reality-changing concepts. It also includes member-only content and a VIP Facebook group to ask questions and connect with like-minded individuals. The Consciousness Playground currently has instant access to over 150 hours of life-changing audios and exclusive programs, with more added each month. Each and every month has a theme and includes audios and live calls around that topic. This playground has audios worth over $1,500 that you can access all at once. Come learn, grow, expand, and create something different in your life today.
And we're back talking about frequency and vibration. So, kind of continuing on what we were talking about before, and just really letting this energy kind of vortex out and vortex through, really looking at these old things, right? These old constructs. And again, like for me, it looks like filing cabinets, but it's really form and structure, right? It's all these places and spaces that you have decided things. Those are frequencies and make up the vibration of your universe. So when you're presented with new information, so somebody calls me and says, hey, I have a brand new vehicle available. And what happens is when somebody gives me information, what I do energetically as an energetic being is we sort through our belief systems of what a brand new vehicle means, all of the things that we've decided about buying a vehicle. I mean, all of these things. And it happens really, really fast because that's what our brain does, right? Our brain sorts through information and our brain automatically responds with what we have decided is real and true about the subject. So if I've decided that I could never have a new car because I can never afford a new car, a new car is going to be too expensive, all of the viewpoints that I have about having a new car, or all of the things I'm going to have to do to pay for a new car, right? Everything I've ever decided about that concept, no matter what it is, comes to the forefront, and that is what tells me how to make my decision, right? No, you shouldn't do that because my brain tells me everything I've ever had stored about that concept, and then allows me to receive what my brain feels like is acceptable, right, and good. So that is why, like, have you ever had an experience where you've done the same thing for maybe 10 years? Maybe you've drove the same way to work for 10 years. You have done the same thing for 10 years, and then one day you see something and you're like, whoa, I've never seen that before. Maybe it's a road sign. Maybe it's a house that you've never seen before. Maybe it's something that has all of a sudden you realize you see something that you've never seen before, and this is something that you've always chose. Or maybe it's a friend that you've had for maybe, have you ever had a friend for like 10 years, and then one day they say something, or you look at them and you're like, I never even noticed that about that person before, or I never even seen that with my drive to work before. I can't tell you how many times in my life, especially when I was younger, I would, have something or be driving somewhere or do something and look at somebody and think, gosh, I never even realized that about that person, or I never even seen that home before. Obviously, that house has been there for a long time, but why have I been driving this way for, 10 years and never even noticed that before, right? And that's really because there was something that, whether it was a viewpoint or again that form and structure, because what happens is that form and structure. So if we look at it like a big filing cabinet, right, and we realize like we just expanded ourselves out, I like to, as I expand myself out, I like to look at my universe like it's a big huge garden. Okay, and my big huge garden has all of my viewpoints planted in there, right? Has everything I have ever believed to be true, not true. If you don't believe in something, then it makes it really, really hard for you to be able to see it. Because if you have decided that, let's say if you decide aliens don't exist, right? And that's just a whole bunch of bull honky, and you have all these points of views about it, then that's going to really be like this big huge tall structure of form and structure about everything you've decided about what an alien is, right? And then even if an alien's standing right in front of you, you might not see that alien because your brain is filtering that alien through the point of view, that filing cabinet, that big patch of, maybe it's a patch of corn that has all of the information about everything that you've decided about aliens, and it's filtering through, and then by the time it actually gets to you, your brain says, oh no, you can't see that, you can't even receive from that because you have decided that that's not true, and so you can't even see it even if it's standing right in front of you. How many times have you had an argument with someone and it's like you're showing them, you're like, but look, it's like the proof is right here and they still can't see it. And that's not because they're dumb or they're stupid or they're, the 500 other things that you might have thought about them. It's really because their filtering mechanisms, their points of views don't let them see that. And again, that energy, that is, okay, so that is the frequency and the vibration that's making up your universe. Have you ever had those instances where something happens and you auto respond in a certain energy? Like, okay, so for me, my biggest probably frequency and vibration that I really, when I was going through my awakening and I would really wanted to change, was my anger. There were certain things that, especially being a mom, my children would do, and without me even being able to control it, I immediately flew into anger, because when this happens, this is how I respond. That was my programming, right? When this happens, this is how I respond. When this happens, this is how I respond. When this happens, this is how I respond, right? Now, I didn't want to respond that way. I got to a certain point where, like, I hated responding that way, right? And here is where conscious choice comes in, right? So that would happen. My autoresponder, what my energy, my frequency, my vibration tells me to do, when this happens, this is how we respond, right? We respond with anger, because this is what you have stored as real and true. This is the frequency that when we become aware of this frequency, this vibration, the auto response to that frequency and vibration is this frequency and vibration. It's just frequency and vibration, right? Anger, being mad, being angry is just a frequency and vibration. So I would respond with anger. Now, what I had to start doing in my life is because what would happen is I would get angry, right? And then after I was angry, then I would be mad because I didn't want to be angry, right? I mean, we've all had those times, right? I'm angry, then I'm mad, then I'm sad, because then I feel bad because I didn't want to go to angry. I didn't want to go to mad. I didn't want to say the things that I said. So then I feel sad because I did it, and then I feel guilty. Right. And it was like that continuous cycle, continuous cycle, continuous cycle, continuous cycle. So I had to get to the place where I was present enough during my day that I could, when I auto responded in that way, when I felt the energy and then I felt the response, where I could stop myself and say, no, you know what? I don't want to choose that anymore. And that's where the conscious choice comes in. Okay, it's becoming aware of that pattern. It's becoming aware of, and again, this is, I talked about at the beginning of this in the Awaken and Align program. That's what we're going through right now. We're going through our really our frequencies and vibrations that we're spending the day in, right? We're really getting clear about how many times a day am I saying things like I don't know, or how many times a day am I going into an emotional energy that I don't like? How often am I resisting or reacting to information? What am I in during the day that's making up the frequency and vibration that I'm spending my life in? Take a nice deep breath. And it's like when you can get conscious and aware enough about the frequencies that you're in, you can start to say, because so much of our day is just autoresponder, 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 right? A majority of your life, you're just playing the part in. You're probably not even really consciously creating, and you're just responding energetically to the frequency and vibration that you have stored. And maybe you don't. I'm just generalizing here. Maybe you are going through awakening periods. Obviously, if you're listening to the show, you're really truly interested in shifting and changing these things so you can be something different. And you guys, that is number one. That is key. Knowing that, you know what? I don't like the way that my life is showing up right now. I don't like the patterns that I'm perpetrating. I don't like the ways that I don't have choice in my life. I don't like the ways that, I always have to be a certain way to want to be that way anymore. And again, here comes your conscious choice, right? here comes your conscious choice to say, you know what, this is the energy that I've been playing in. And as we're kind of moving forward in the awakening and aligning, this coming week, we are really stepping into taking responsibility for the energy, space, and consciousness that we have been in, because that's key to even changing your frequency and vibration. Understanding that, hey, you know what, I have been out of responding in anger, and I don't like to be angry anymore. That's a conscious choice, right? That's the first step, the conscious choice. I don't like to be this way anymore. I don't like to feel this way that I've been feeling. I don't like to continue to perpetrate these cycles. And then going to, okay, uh, so I get that I have been in this. So that's just frequency and vibration. It's not a wrongness of you. It's just stored points of views that you have aligned and agreed with so dynamically that that is the form and structure that exists. When this frequency comes in, this is the frequency that goes out. That's all it is. It's just frequency and vibration. It's not because you're bad and wrong. I mean, is it because of the patterns that you've had in your life? Some of it, yes, definitely. But I'm going to say that 99% of the way that your energy, space, and consciousness, your frequency and vibration is showing up right now in your life probably has nothing to consciously do with how you live your life right now. It has more to do with the frequency and vibration, the programming that exists within your energy, space, and consciousness. And you are just auto responding in ways that you have been programmed to auto respond. Now, many of us probably at this part in the game have done a lot of shifting and changing, and there are areas where we have made dynamic change, and you feel where, gosh, you know, I used to have this issue and I've changed it, and now my life is different. And that's what I think is probably the most empowering part of all of this is if there is something showing up in your life right now, being able to acknowledge that, hey, you know what? That stuff that I hate that I'm doing is just frequency and vibration. It's not, it's not this unchangeable thing. It's not this character flaw of who I am. It's just frequency and vibration. And it's things I've identified with, and it's things I've claimed and owned, and it's things I've decided is true about me. But that again just boils back down to being frequency and vibration. And the thing about that is you have choice. You can change that. You can be or do and say and have a different life. You no longer have to be the effect of that frequency and vibration in your life any longer. You can identify what frequencies you are hanging out with. You can pinpoint the energies that are making up situations that you no longer care for in your life, and you can consciously choose them. You can choose to change them. You can choose something different. None of this is hard, you guys. The whole point of my radio show today is I wanted people to understand that life change does not have to be hard. You just have to be able to get to the frequency and vibration of what it is that's creating the pattern, that's creating the problem or the lack of information that you have, to be able to change it. We are in such a powerful time of transformation right now. You have so much power to be able to choose and change anything that you would like to choose and change in your life. You no longer have to be the effect of energies, of frequencies, of vibrations that you do not desire in your life. And that is an amazing thing. When you really get that, when you really know that, when you really can feel that, I can really truly have anything that I desire. You have to put a little bit of work in? Absolutely, positively you do. But it is doable. So my new program, Awaken and Align, is really all about this, you guys. It's all about waking up to the form and structure, the energies, the vibrations, the things that you are the effect of in your energy, space, and consciousness, and really being able to wake up to all those patterns so you can really truly have the power and the choice. So if you need help, please go to my website, jamie-bates, BATES.com, and check it out. Awaken and Align. It's there on my website for you to kind of click through. It has all of the information. Really, truly, it's time that we wake up. It's time that we stop living in a reality that doesn't work for us, because there's so much more available to you. I also have my Consciousness Playground that you can join, and I have so many people who just join that and tell me how much shift and changes it's creating in their world, and really opening things up and really creating them as that conscious creator of their universe. So you can check that out as well. There's also a link on my website for that. I am so grateful. I am really so grateful for you, for listening to my show, for emailing me, for messaging me, for commenting on my YouTube channel. Please comment on the video here if you're watching it on YouTube. Comment on here if you're watching it on Podbean or wherever you're listening to it. Let me know what you think of the show. Your feedback is really, truly filling me with so much gratitude. I love to hear that this stuff is helping you. I just do this radio show for free just because it's just something I feel like I just need to continue to spread information and let people know that we don't have to struggle anymore, you guys. There's enough energy available to us. There's enough space available to us that we really, truly can consciously change our lives. So I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for listening to my show today. And I hope that you have an amazing day. And I look forward to connecting to you in the future. So have a great day today. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.